Moving over here, I know it's all been positive. There's been a lot of excitement throughout the course of the week for Seattle sports in these other segments. Get to the Kraken. Doesn't start off super hot. The last game before the All-Star break, the Kraken headed down to San Jose to play the Sharks being one of the teams at the bottom of the standings in the National Hockey League, and could be one of historically the worst teams in NHL history. Seattle got shut out by those Sharks by a score of 2-0. Both San Jose goals coming in the third period. Seattle had chances throughout the first 40 minutes, but just couldn't get the bounce of the puck and weren't ultimately doing enough to get to the net to force a dirty goal. And they lose to San Jose. They get shut out. Our play of the game normally in shutouts, we don't do players of the game just because of the disappointment of them. But goaltender Joey Daccord did his best, 20 saves in this one, a .952 save percentage. The first goal that San Jose scored came through traffic. He really didn't have much of a chance. And then the second goal was an empty netter, so you can't blame that one against Joey. It was just a tough one. It was just a really ugly game. To an extent, it looked like Seattle was already had their minds in Cancun. They were ready to get to the All-Star break. It was Cabo Wabo all over again from last year. Just really frustrating. I mean, you look at it, and it is frustrating because, you look at this team, from their 8-game losing streak in December, and then the winning streak that included the Winter Classic, and then a little bit of a losing streak again right before the break to a 3-game point streak, and then this loss. It's, again, I've said it last week, they're nothing if not consistent. They got to figure things out. We'll shift a little bit of a gear here because, the trade deadline for the NHL is on March 8th. Seattle, from the time that they return to action from the February 10th to the 8th, those are games that matter even more. Obviously, they matter going forward, considering the points that you need to make the playoffs in the NHL. You're likely going to be a wild card team. You need to make them matter. Seattle has shown that they can do so. They've shown that they can be a good team. They haven't been healthy all year. They haven't been as good as they needed to be offensively. Defensively, they've shown peaks where they've been really strong and structured. Their goaltending has been excellent throughout the course of the year. That's nowhere near an issue for them this season. It's make or break. Once you get back to things on the 7th of February here in a few days. You need to make these things matter, or else this team might be a seller at the trade deadline. You might see guys like Alex Wenberg go. Jordan Eberle might be gone. So, I think this team has it in them to turn things up and make the playoffs, but they've really got to start making things matter and make it last. So there's that to look at. There's some housekeeping things with team-related news. On the 30th, forward Devon Shore did clear waivers and was reassigned to AHL Coachella Valley. On the 31st, defenseman Riker Evans was reassigned to Coachella Valley, and some folks were like, why is Riker getting sent back down? First of all, it's the All-Star break in the bye week. The Kraken won't be back in action until the 10th. So it's better for him to go down to the AHL affiliate and get some game time in as opposed to just sitting around and lounging around like a potato. Second of all, he was the Firebirds representative at the AHL All-Star game. So better for him to actually be part of his AHL All-Star experience than just, again, having him sit around. There you go. On the 3rd, though, with the NHL All-Star game, which, reserve your comments for how it was as a whole to yourself. Forward Oliver Bjorkstrand did score in the All-Star game. He becomes the first Danish-born player to score a goal in an All-Star game. And as mentioned previously, back when he was selected, is the third Danish player to appear in one behind Frederik Andersen in 2020 and Frans Nielsen in 2017. So nice for Oliver to go and make an impact in that game for Team McKinnon / Tate McRae. There was a lot of frustration in the player draft that happened a few days before because Oliver, for all intents and purposes, was drafted last out of the player pool, and they messed up his name. It was pronounced Oliver Bjorkstrand, which is not quite his real name. So just frustration with the disrespect that he had to deal with, obviously, but nice that he made an impact in the game that he played in and now can enjoy the rest of the bye week. So looking ahead, the Kraken sit at a 21-win, 19-loss, 10 overtime loss record, which is good for 5th in the Pacific Division, just behind the Los Angeles Kings, who have kind of hit a free fall since a nice start to the season. They are at 52 points on the year, which is good for two 2 points out of the final wild card spot, just behind St. Louis. So, as mentioned, the team doesn't return to practice until the 7th of February, and their first game back isn't until February 10th. That game is Saturday, February 10th, against the Philadelphia Flyers at 4 o'clock on ESPN Plus and Hulu. Programming note, ESPN Plus and Hulu. You will not be able to find it on Root Sports, so please don't tag me and ask why it's not on Root Sports. We've had that happen before.